The sound of packing tape ripping across cardboard seemed to echo my shattered world. Each box I sealed felt like another nail in the coffin of my marriage. My hands trembled as I wrapped another photo frame, me in a white dress, him in a tuxedo, both of us smiling like we knew what forever meant. My name is Athena, and today I learned that "till death do us part" has an asterisk. The front door clicked open. Abraham's footsteps, confident and unhurried, moved through our home of 8 years. I didn't turn around when he entered the bedroom, but I could feel his presence, cold, triumphant, radiating satisfaction. "Still packing? You should hurry. The bank will want their house back soon enough." His voice dripped with amusement. I carefully placed the wedding photo in a box. "You're early. I thought you'd at least wait until dinner to drop the bomb." "Why wait? The papers are signed. The accounts are emptied." He walked around to face me, blocking my view of the closet. "Though I did leave you something, about $50. Should cover a night at a motel." "How generous." I kept my voice steady, even as bile rose in my throat. "And Zariah? Does she know you're here, telling your wife she's homeless?" His eyes widened slightly. "Ah, so you know about her. And the twins." I met his gaze. "Your secret family isn't so secret anymore." He laughed, actually laughed, and reached into his pocket. "Well, that saves time on explanations. Here's a parting gift." He flicked something at me. A dollar coin bounced off my chest and rolled under the bed. "For old time's sake, remember when you used to save every penny?" The memory hit like a slap. Early in our marriage, I'd tried to maintain separate savings. He'd called it insulting, said real couples shared everything, called me paranoid, controlling, until I'd surrendered my financial independence for trust. "You know what's funny, Abraham? You spent 8 years with me, but you never once asked about my family." "Your dead daddy's company?" He snorted. "The one that tanked? Please, I did my research." I smiled, just slightly. "Did you?" Something in my tone made him pause, but he shrugged it off. "Doesn't matter now. The money's gone, the house is gone, and soon you'll be gone. Back to whatever hole you crawled out of." "You always did underestimate me." I stood up, brushing dust from my knees. "Remember our third date? When you asked why I worked as an assistant when I had a business degree?" "Because you were mediocre? Unmotivated?" He stepped closer, towering over me. "Face it, Athena. You needed me. I made you relevant." "No," I met his eyes. "I chose to be invisible. Daddy taught me that lesson well. People show their true colors when they think you're powerless." His confidence wavered. "What are you talking about?" "You'll find out." I turned back to my packing. "Oh, and Abraham? Those accounts you emptied? They were just my allowance. The real money." I laughed softly. "Well, like I said, you never asked about my family." "You're bluffing." But his voice had lost its edge. "The board meeting next week? The one where you're planning to propose yourself as CEO? I'll see you there." The color drained from his face. "You can't." "I can. I will." I sealed another box. "You should go. Zariah will be wondering where you are, though I doubt she'll want damaged goods once she learns the truth." He grabbed my arm, fingers digging in. "Listen here, you little—" "Take your hand off me," I said quietly, "or I'll have security escort you out of the building you think you're about to run." He released me like I'd burned him. Backing away, he straightened his jacket, trying to recover his composure. "You're lying. This is just sad, Athena. Really sad. Goodbye, Abraham." I didn't watch him leave, but I heard his footsteps quicken, heard the front door slam. Only then did I allow myself to shake, just for a moment. 8 years of lies. 8 years of manipulation. 8 years of him thinking he was the clever one. I reached under the bed and retrieved the dollar coin he'd thrown at me. The metal was cool against my palm, and I closed my fingers around it, squeezing until the edges bit into my skin. My phone buzzed, a text from Jacob, my father's old lawyer. "Everything's ready. The board won't know what hit them." I texted back one word: "Good." Then I picked up the wedding photo I'd just packed, traced my finger over Abraham's smiling face, and whispered, "You should have asked about my family, darling. Daddy may be dead, but he left me something much more valuable than money. He left me control." The photo joined the coin in my pocket. Souvenirs of the last time anyone would ever underestimate Athena Fleming. "Your father would be proud," Jacob said, sliding a stack of documents across his desk. "He always said you had the patience of a spider." I traced the company letterhead with my fingertip. Fleming Technologies, my father's legacy, and now my weapon. "How many shares exactly?" 43%. Controlling interest. Jacob leaned back in his chair, a slight smile playing on his lips. "The board still thinks you signed everything over to Abraham years ago. They never bothered to verify." "Because a grieving daughter couldn't possibly understand business?" I laughed softly. "Their mistake." My phone buzzed, a text from Destiny, Abraham's assistant. "He's meeting with Nathaniel and Greta now, planning something big." "Perfect timing." I showed Jacob the message. "How fast can you arrange an emergency board meeting?" 24 hours, but Athena... He hesitated. "Are you sure about this? Once we move, there's no going back." I pulled out the dollar coin Abraham had thrown at me. "He took everything I had in our joint accounts. $3 million, Jacob. Money I earned that he convinced me to share, because that's what loving wives do. And now you'll take everything he wants." Jacob nodded. "I'll make the calls, but first, there's something you should see." He pulled up a property listing on his computer. My childhood home, now dilapidated, windows boarded, lawn overgrown. It went into foreclosure last month. Abraham's been buying up properties around it through shell companies. Of course he has. My throat tightened. He's planning to develop the whole block. Probably already promised Nathaniel and Greta a piece of the action. Want to take a look? Might help you remember why we're doing this. 20 minutes later, we stood in front of the Victorian mansion where I'd grown up. Paint peeled from the walls like dead skin. The porch where Daddy used to read me business proposals as bedtime stories sagged dangerously. "He knew," I whispered. "Abraham knew this area was marked for development. That's why he pushed so hard to get my power of attorney last year, said it was just in case something happened to me." Jacob touched my shoulder. "Your father built this company from nothing. Abraham thought he could just walk in and take it?" My phone buzzed again. "Destiny. Meeting over. They're celebrating. Abraham says he's going to be CEO by next week." I showed Jacob the message. "Call the board. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Time to remind everyone who really owns Fleming Technologies." "What about Nathaniel and Greta? They've been gunning for control since your father died." "Then let's give them what they want." I smiled. "Just not the way they expect." "Have my father's old office cleaned out. I'll be working from there from now on." "The corner office? That'll send a message." Speaking of messages, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd memorized. "Fleming Technologies, Mr. Sherman's office." Destiny answered professionally. "Destiny? This is Athena Sherman. I need you to do something for me." A pause. "Mrs. Sherman? Of course, how can I help?" "Tomorrow morning, I want you to make sure Abraham's presentation materials are ready in the main boardroom. Every proposal, every projection. Can you do that?" "Yes, ma'am. Should I tell him you called?" "No need. Just make sure everything's perfect." "Oh, and Destiny? After tomorrow, you might want to update your resume. Things are about to change." I hung up and caught Jacob staring at me. "What?" "Nothing. Just... You sound like your father. That same tone when he knew he had someone cornered." "Good." I took one last look at my childhood home, because tomorrow we're going to remind Abraham exactly who he married and who he betrayed. My phone chimed with an email notification. The board meeting was set. "Jacob?" I turned away from the house. "Make sure security knows to let me in tomorrow, and have them ready to remove anyone who objects." "Already done?" he smiled. "The spider's web is ready. Now we just wait for the fly." "No." I clutched the dollar coin in my pocket. "Now we remind everyone that Fleming Technologies has always been a family company, and family..." I smiled coldly. "Family takes care of its own." As we walked back to the car, Another text from Destiny lit up my phone. Abraham just booked a celebration dinner for tomorrow night. Expensive champagne. Should I cancel it? I typed back, no, let him enjoy his last supper. Tomorrow, Abraham would learn the true cost of underestimating me. And unlike him, I wouldn't need to throw coins to make my point. The game was set, the players were in position, and I had 8 years of rage to fuel my revenge. Destiny's manila envelope landed on my desk with a satisfying thud. These are copies of everything, she said, wringing her hands. The fake invoices, the wire transfers to offshore accounts, even receipts from jewelry stores. For Zariah? I opened the envelope, spreading out the documents. Yes, he's been charging everything to the company, even their house. She hesitated. Mrs. Sherman, Athena, there's something else. About your sister. My hand froze over a receipt for a $50,000 diamond necklace. Evelyn, what about her? She's been coming to the office, meeting with Abraham in private. I recorded one of their conversations. Destiny pulled out her phone, hands shaking slightly. Abraham's voice filled the room. Just get me her trust fund details, Evelyn. You know she never deserved that money anyway. She's my sister, Evelyn's voice wavered. Your sister who got everything while you got nothing. Come on, baby. Help me take her down, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. I stopped the recording, my stomach churning. When was this? 3 months ago, right before he gained access to your personal accounts. The pieces clicked together. Evelyn had always been bitter about Daddy's favoritism, but this... Thank you, Destiny. You should go home now. Tomorrow will be interesting. After she left, I called a number I hadn't used in years. Evelyn answered on the 3rd ring. Well, finally remembered you have a sister? We need to talk. The cafe on 5th, 1 hour. Why should I? Because if you don't, I'll have to handle this officially, with lawyers. A pause. 1 hour. The cafe was nearly empty when Evelyn walked in. She'd lost weight, her designer clothes hanging loose on her frame. Her eyes wouldn't meet mine. You look expensive, I said as she sat down. Abraham's taste? She flinched. It's not what you think. No? I slid my phone across the table, the recording queued up. Then explain what I should think. The color drained from her face as she listened. When it finished, she pushed the phone back with trembling fingers. I never meant to help him steal $3 million from me? To betray your own sister? You don't understand! Her voice cracked. You had everything. Daddy's love, the company shares, the perfect marriage. Perfect? I laughed bitterly. He was sleeping with another woman, Evelyn. Has 2 kids with her. While you were helping him rob me blind. She covered her mouth, tears welling up. Kids? I didn't... He said he just needed money for a business venture. And the necklace he bought you? Was that business too? I gave it back. She pulled a crumpled tissue from her purse. Last week, when I saw him with her, with Zariah, they looked so happy. Like we used to look before Daddy died. Understanding hit me like a slap. You and Abraham? How long? Just a few times. After he started asking about your accounts. He said I was beautiful, that I deserved better than being the forgotten sister. She laughed hollowly. Guess we both fell for his lies. I should have felt angry, should have wanted to scream, to hurt her like she'd hurt me. Instead, I just felt tired. You know what happens tomorrow? She nodded. The board meeting. Abraham's been bragging about becoming CEO. Want to see him fall? Her head snapped up. What? Come to the meeting. Watch what happens when karma catches up. I stood up, dropping cash on the table. But Evelyn, after tomorrow, don't expect me to trust you again. Ever. Athena, wait! She grabbed my arm. I have more. Documents, emails, things he didn't know I kept. Insurance? Protection. I thought if he turned on me. She pulled out a USB drive. Everything's here. Use it however you want. I took the drive, weighing it in my palm. This doesn't make us even. I know. She wiped her eyes. But maybe it's a start? Maybe. I turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. That necklace you returned? He gave it to Zariah yesterday, wrapped in the same paper, same box. Evelyn's sob followed me out of the cafe, another piece of evidence that Abraham Sherman destroyed everything he touched. Tomorrow, he'd learn the price of playing with fire. My phone buzzed. Jacob. Everything's set for tomorrow. You ready? I touched the dollar coin in my pocket, thinking of Evelyn's tears, of Abraham's smug smile, of Zariah wearing my sister's discarded jewelry. Ready, I texted back. Time to burn it all down. The gated community screamed new money. I adjusted my fake ID badge, Sarah Miller, financial compliance, and pulled into the visitors' parking spot. Zariah's house, bought with my money, loomed ahead, a modernist monstrosity of glass and steel. The security guard barely glanced at my badge. Ms. Ramos is expecting you. Of course she was. Nothing like an official-looking letter about routine financial verification to open doors. Zariah answered on the first knock, all perfect makeup and practiced charm. Come in. Can I offer you coffee? I followed her into a living room that could have been lifted from an architectural magazine. My wedding photos used to hang where abstract art now dominated the walls. Beautiful home, I said, opening my briefcase. Recently purchased? Yes, my partner wanted something special for the children. She gestured to family photos, Abraham with 2 dark-haired toddlers, all smiles and coordinated outfits. Partner? I kept my voice neutral. Not husband? Not yet. She smiled, touching the diamond necklace at her throat, the one Evelyn had returned. But soon. He's just finalizing some previous commitments. How convenient. I pulled out some forms. Speaking of finances, could you clarify how the property was purchased? Oh, through his company, a corporate investment. She waved dismissively. Everything's properly documented. Including the renovations, the furniture, I glanced at a designer handbag collection displayed like museum pieces. Personal expenses? Her smile flickered. Is there a problem? Several, actually. We've noticed unusual patterns in corporate spending, like this necklace. I pointed to her throat. Purchased twice on the same corporate account. Interesting, isn't it? She touched the diamonds defensively. I don't know what you're implying, or the private school tuition for the twins, the weekly spa appointments, the lease on your Mercedes. I laid out photographs of receipts, all charged to Fleming Technologies. Abraham handles all that. Her voice hardened. He's about to become CEO. He has authority. Does he? I pulled out my phone, pulled up a photo. Is that why he's been meeting with his wife's sister, planning his big promotion? Color drained from her face. His wife? Oh, didn't he tell you? He's still married. To Athena Fleming. I savored her shock. Daughter of the company's founder. Major shareholder. No. She stood up, hands shaking. No, he said they were divorced, that she was nobody. Nobody? I laughed softly. Is that what he told you when he stole her money to buy your house? Get out! She grabbed her phone. I'm calling Abraham. Go ahead, but first. I stood, dropping my fake ID on the table. Take a closer look at who you're calling about. She froze, staring at my face, really seeing it for the first time. You're the nobody he left for you? Yes. I gathered my papers calmly. Enjoy the necklace, Zariah. It looked better on his last mistress anyway. Wait! She grabbed my arm. I never knew he was still married. You have to believe me. Actually, I don't have to believe anything. I removed her hand. But you should know, tomorrow morning the board meets to review Abraham's activities, including his creative use of company funds. He said he was protecting us, she whispered. Building a future. He's building nothing, just destroying everything he touches. I reached the door, then turned back. Oh, and Zariah? When the auditors come, and they will come, remember who really paid for all this. Every piece of furniture, every designer bag, every diamond. What should I do? Keep the evidence. I smiled coldly. You'll need it when he tries to blame everything on you. I was halfway to my car when she called out, he's planning to announce our engagement at the board meeting tomorrow, says it'll help with his image. Perfect. I didn't turn around. Make sure you dress up. It's going to be quite a show. Back in my car, I texted Jacob. Zariah's ready to crack. She'll turn on him the moment things go south. His reply came quickly. Good. Because Abraham just submitted his proposal. He wants to announce her as the new head of public relations. I touched the dollar coin in my pocket, imagining tomorrow's scene. Abraham's triumph turning to ash, Zariah's dreams crumbling, the board's shock when they realize who really holds the power. One more thing, Jacob texted. Security cameras caught Evelyn trying to access the building. Should I let her in tomorrow? I thought of my sister's tears, her betrayal, her desperate attempt at redemption. Let her come, I typed back. She should see what happens when you bet on the wrong horse. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough. The stage was set, the players positioned, and Abraham's carefully constructed house of lies was about to come crashing down. I started the car, smiling as I passed Zariah's perfect house. By this time tomorrow, she'd learn what I'd known for weeks. Abraham Sherman destroys everything he claims to love, and I was about to destroy him. The boardroom hummed with anticipation. Through the glass walls, I watched Abraham work the room, shaking hands, laughing at Nathaniel's jokes, touching Greta's arm with calculated familiarity. Zariah sat near the door in a red designer dress, the stolen diamonds glittering at her throat. Ready? Jacob appeared at my side, holding a stack of folders. Wait. I spotted Evelyn slipping into the back of the room, pale but determined. Now I'm ready. Abraham was mid-presentation when we entered. And with these development projects, our quarterly profits will increase by... He froze, marker hovering over the whiteboard. Please, I smiled, don't stop on my account. Athena? Nathaniel stood up. This is a closed meeting. Sit down, Nathaniel. Jacob dropped the folders on the table. Mrs. Sherman has every right to be here. Mrs. Sherman, Abraham recovered, flashing his practiced smile. Though I'm touched, you came to support my promotion. Promotion? I moved to the head of the table. Oh no, darling. I came to fire you. The room erupted in murmurs. Greta clutched her pearls. Zariah half rose from her chair. This is ridiculous, Abraham laughed. Security won't help. I pulled out a document. As majority shareholder of Fleming Technologies, I'm exercising my right to make immediate personnel changes. Majority? Nathaniel sputtered. That's impossible. Those shares were transferred. Were they? Jacob started distributing folders. Please, check the documentation. You'll find everything in order. Abraham's smile cracked. Athena, sweetheart, let's discuss this privately. Like we discussed you emptying our accounts? I projected screenshots onto the wall. Or perhaps like we discussed these unauthorized expenses? Images flashed, jewelry receipts, property deeds, wire transfers. Zariah's face went from confused to horrified as the evidence mounted. Those transactions were approved, Abraham snapped. By whom? I turned to the board. Did any of you authorize using company funds to support Mr. Sherman's second family? Silence. Zariah stood up, diamonds trembling. Second family? You said you were divorced. Zariah, baby, I can explain. Save it. She yanked off the necklace. I won't be your scapegoat. Speaking of explanations, I continued, let's discuss the development projects, particularly the shell companies buying property around my father's estate. Nathaniel shifted uncomfortably. Greta suddenly became fascinated with her phone. That's enough! Abraham slammed his hand on the table. This is a pathetic attempt at... Revenge? I smiled. No, darling, this is business. Jacob, please distribute the termination papers. You can't do this, Abraham's voice cracked. I built this company. You built nothing, I cut him off. You just got very good at taking things that didn't belong to you. I turned to the board. Anyone who aided Mr. Sherman's activities has 1 hour to resign. After that, the audit goes public. Nathaniel was already reaching for a pen. Greta looked close to tears. Athena, Abraham tried one last time. Think about what you're doing. Think about us. Us? I pulled out the dollar coin, flipped it onto the table. There hasn't been an us since you threw this at me. Consider it your severance pay. He lunged for me, but security was faster. As they dragged him toward the door, he shouted, "You're nothing without me, nothing." Actually, I sat in the CEO's chair, my father's old seat. I'm everything you pretended to be. Zariah followed him out, already on her phone with what sounded like a lawyer. Nathaniel and 2 other board members quietly signed resignation letters. Greta just sat there, shell-shocked. Only Evelyn remained, tears streaming down her face. Athena, Save it. I didn't look at her. Just go. The room emptied until only Jacob and I remained. Through the glass, I could see Abraham arguing with security in the lobby, his perfect life crumbling in real time. Well, Jacob gathered the signed resignations. That was educational. I picked up the dollar coin. Amazing how quickly loyalty disappears when money's involved. Speaking of money, he smiled. The accounts Abraham drained, already frozen. Everything will be returned by morning. Good. I stood up, straightening my jacket. Schedule a press release. Something about corporate restructuring and returning to family values. And Abraham? Through the glass, I watched my husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, finally being escorted from the building. His perfect suit was wrinkled, his hair disheveled. He looked small, ordinary, powerless. Let him keep the dollar, I said. He's going to need it. My phone buzzed. Destiny. Mr. Sherman's office is cleared. Where should I forward his calls? I smiled, settling into my father's chair. To his wife, I texted back, the one who owns the company. The audit results are worse than we thought, Jacob said, spreading papers across my desk. Hidden accounts, fake vendors, kickbacks. He didn't just steal from you, he was bleeding the company dry. I picked up a spreadsheet. 7 million in unauthorized transfers? Where did it all go? Besides Zariah's lifestyle, property investments mostly, all through shell companies registered to his college roommate. My intercom buzzed. Mrs. Sherman? Destiny's voice wavered. He's here again. Says he won't leave without speaking to you. For 3 days, Abraham had been trying to get into the building, each time more desperate than the last. Send him up, I said, and call security. Have them wait outside. Jacob gathered his papers. Want me to stay? No, but leave the audit results. He should see what we found. Abraham burst in moments later, unshaven and wild-eyed. His designer suit had been replaced by wrinkled khakis and a polo shirt. Athena, please, he started. You have to stop this. The banks are freezing everything. Zariah's lawyers are calling. The press. Sit down. I pointed to a chair. You look terrible. Because you're destroying my life. He collapsed into the chair. Everything I built. You mean everything you stole? I spread out the audit papers. $7 million, Abraham. Did you think nobody would notice? I can explain. The offshore accounts, the kickbacks, the property schemes. I leaned forward. Or should we discuss how you used company money to buy the same necklace for both my sister and your mistress? He flinched. Evelyn told you? Evelyn gave me everything. Emails, recordings, bank statements. I smiled coldly. She chose survival over loyalty, just like Zariah did. Zariah's different. We have children. Who you'll be supporting with whatever's left after the lawsuits. I pushed a document toward him. Speaking of which, here's the settlement offer. His hands shook as he read. This is insane. You want me to forfeit everything? Everything you stole? Yes. I stood up, walking to the window. The $3 million from our accounts, your shares in the company, the properties you bought with stolen money. And if I refuse? Then I press charges. Corporate fraud, embezzlement, money laundering. I turned back to him. How long do you think you'd last in prison, Abraham? He lunged up, sending papers flying. You vindictive bitch, you think you can just... The door burst open. 2 security guards rushed in, grabbing his arms. That's assault on video, I said calmly. Want to add it to the charges? Wait. He stopped struggling. Please, I'll sign. Just give me something to work with. A consulting position, a reference. Like the reference you gave me? What was it? Mediocre, unmotivated. I picked up the fallen papers. Sign the settlement, Abraham. It's more than you deserve. The fight drained from him. Security released his arms, and he slumped back into the chair. Pen, he whispered. I watched him sign away everything he'd stolen, each signature more defeated than the last. When he finished, he looked up at me with hollow eyes. Was any of it real? Us? For a moment, I remembered our first date. His charm, his ambition, the way he'd made me feel seen. Then I remembered the dollar coin, thrown like garbage at my feet. You tell me, I said. Was I ever more than a stepping stone? He had no answer. Security led him out quietly this time, his shoulders slumped in defeat. My phone buzzed. Zariah. The twins keep asking for their father. I don't know what to tell them. I stared at the message, thinking of innocent children caught in their father's web of lies. Tell them the truth, I texted back, that their father made bad choices, and now he has to face the consequences. Jacob returned, eyeing the scattered papers. That bad? He signed. I handed him the settlement. Make sure it's filed today. And Zariah? The press is having a field day with the secret family angle. I touched the dollar coin in my pocket. Issue a statement. Say the company is arranging a trust fund for the children's education. They shouldn't suffer for their father's sins. Showing mercy? Jacob raised an eyebrow. No. I sat back in my father's chair, showing the difference between him and me. Through the window, I watched Abraham's car leave the parking lot for the last time. 8 years of marriage, reduced to a stack of signatures and a battered coin. Jacob, I said quietly, cancel his building access. If he comes back, restraining order? No. I smiled grimly. Just remind him that karma takes everything you steal with interest. Abraham Sherman resigns amid financial scandal blazed across every business news channel. I watched the coverage from my office, sipping coffee from my father's old mug. They're calling it the comeback story of the year, Jacob said, dropping the morning papers on my desk. Prodigal daughter returns to save family empire. My phone buzzed with a text from Zariah. He showed up at the house last night, drunk. Police had to remove him. Any word on where he's staying? I asked Jacob. Some motel off the highway. Apparently Zariah's lawyers froze his credit cards. He paused. Evelyn's been trying to reach you. Still not ready. I turned back to the window, but my sister's reflection appeared beside me. Too bad, Evelyn said from the doorway, because I'm done waiting. Jacob quietly excused himself as Evelyn walked in, looking both expensive and exhausted. Nice office, she said. Daddy would be proud. What do you want? To show you something. She pulled out her phone, played a video. Abraham appeared on screen, clearly drunk, pounding on what looked like Zariah's door. Let me see my kids. You can't keep them from me. I can and I will, Zariah's voice rang out. You lied to everyone, used everyone. The twins deserve better. Better? He laughed bitterly. Like you? The gold digger who jumped ship the moment the money dried up? No, Zariah shot back. Like Athena. At least she built something real while you were busy destroying lives. The video ended with police lights flashing. Why show me this? I asked. Because you need to see what winning looks like. Evelyn sat down. He's lost everything. His family, his reputation, his future. Good. Is it? She leaned forward. When does it stop, Athena? When is it enough? When was it enough for you? I snapped. When you helped him steal my money? When you slept with my husband? I was wrong. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I was jealous and stupid and wrong. But this revenge, it's changing you, making you hard. Maybe I needed to be hard. I touched the dollar coin in my pocket. Maybe that's what survival looks like. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Zariah. The twins made him a Father's Day card. He'll never see it. Something twisted in my chest. He's staying at the Valley Inn, Evelyn said quietly. Room 115. Maybe it's time to end this. End what? He did this to himself. True, but you're the one still carrying his ghost. She stood up. By the way, I'm leaving town. Taking that job in Seattle we talked about when we were kids. Evelyn, don't. She smiled sadly. Just don't let him take your humanity. That's the last thing he deserves to steal. After she left, I sat in the growing darkness, thinking about ghosts and revenge and little boys making cards for a father who destroyed everything he touched. My phone lit up with breaking news. Major merger announced. Fleming Technologies acquires rival firm. Below it, a message from an unknown number. Watching you on TV, you finally became somebody. Congratulations. A. I traced the words, imagining Abraham in his cheap motel room, watching his world rebuild itself without him. The dollar coin felt heavy in my pocket. Before I could change my mind, I drove to the Valley Inn. Room 115 was at the end, paint peeling from the door. Abraham opened on the second knock. He'd aged years and weeks, his eyes sunken, clothes wrinkled. Athena? He squinted like I might be a hallucination. How did you... Evelyn told me. I held out an envelope. This came to the office. He opened it with trembling hands. The Father's Day card fell out, covered in crayon scribbles and glitter. They... His voice cracked. They remembered? Children usually do. I turned to leave, then stopped. The trust fund is set up. For their education. Make sure you're someone they can be proud of by then. Why are you doing this? I finally pulled out the dollar coin, set it on his cluttered dresser. Because carrying hate is heavier than carrying hope, even for them. I'm sorry, he whispered, for everything. I know. I looked at his reflection in the mirror, broken, small, human. But sorry doesn't fix what's broken. It just means you finally see the damage. I left him there, surrounded by fast food wrappers and regret, clutching a glitter-covered card like a lifeline. Back in my car, I texted Zariah. The card reached him. Thank you. Her reply came quickly. The twins will be okay. We all will. I drove back to the office, to my father's chair and his empire, and the life I'd rebuilt from Abraham's ashes. The dollar coin stayed behind. Some debts aren't meant to be collected. The merger paperwork covered my desk like fallen leaves. Jacob handed me the final document, a pen hovering over the signature line. Last one, he said. Then it's official. I signed, feeling the weight of the moment. Fleming Technologies had just doubled in size, absorbing our biggest competitor. My father's legacy was secure, growing stronger than ever. Mrs. Sherman, Destiny appeared in the doorway. There's someone here to see you. Says it's important. Zariah walked in, looking different than I remembered. Less polished, more real. Behind her, two small boys clutched her hands, dark eyes curious. I hope this is okay, she said. They wanted to meet you. The twins stared up at me with Abraham's eyes, but none of his guile. The older one, by maybe 2 minutes, stepped forward. Are you the lady who helped Daddy? He asked. My throat tightened. Something like that. He's better now, the other twin said. He doesn't yell anymore, and he has a real job. Zariah smiled apologetically. He's working construction. Starting over, he says. Actually shows up for visitation sober. Good. I opened my desk drawer, pulled out 2 identical envelopes. These are for you, boys. Your college funds. Nobody can touch them but you. They took the envelopes solemnly, though the papers inside meant nothing to them yet. Thank you, Zariah said softly, for not punishing them for his mistakes. Children shouldn't pay for their parents' sins. I thought of Evelyn, building her new life in Seattle. Sometimes family is complicated. My phone buzzed, a text from Abraham. The boys said they're meeting you. Thank you for everything. I didn't reply. Some bridges stay burned. We should go, Zariah gathered the twins. Say thank you to Mrs. Sherman. Thank you, they chorused, clutching their envelopes like treasure maps. After they left, Jacob cleared his throat. That was unexpected. Life usually is. I stood up, walking to the wall where I'd hung a new frame. Inside was the dollar coin Abraham had thrown at me, mounted on black velvet. Below it, a small plaque read, "The price of trust." Why keep it? Jacob asked. Why not just let it go? Because some lessons need remembering. I touched the frame. Like how saving isn't just about money. What do you mean? Abraham told me once that I was obsessed with saving. He meant money, but he was wrong. I smiled. I saved every slight, every betrayal, every moment he thought I was powerless. and I turned it all into strength. And now? Now I save other things. Hope for those twins, faith in second chances, trust in myself. My phone lit up again. Evelyn. Seattle is beautiful. When you're ready, come visit. Some bridges can be rebuilt. Speaking of rebuilding, Jacob gestured to the merger papers. The press conference starts in an hour, ready to announce the new era of Fleming Technologies. Almost. I picked up my father's old coffee mug, now mine. Just need to make one stop first. The Valley Inn was empty when I pulled up. Room 115's door stood open, being cleaned. Abraham had moved out weeks ago, starting his new life somewhere simpler. I thought about the twins, clutching their college funds, about Evelyn, finding her path far from our shared wounds, about Zariah, rebuilding with grace I never expected, even about Abraham, learning humility on construction sites, earning honest money for the first time in his life. Back at the office, reporters filled the conference room. Cameras flashed as I took the podium. My father's company, my company, poised for its greatest expansion. Fleming Technologies was built on trust, I began. Trust in innovation, in growth, in doing what's right even when it's hard. Today, we're not just merging companies, we're merging values. In the back of the room, I spotted Destiny, who'd chosen loyalty over comfort, Jacob, who'd helped me rise from ashes, even Nathaniel and Greta, who'd learned their own hard lessons about trust. Someone once told me I was obsessed with saving, I continued. They were right, but not about money. I believe in saving what matters: integrity, justice, and the chance for redemption. My phone buzzed one last time. A photo from Zariah, the twins at their desk, already planning what they'd study in college. Behind them, a construction site visible through their window, where their father worked to earn back his dignity. I finished my speech to thunderous applause, but I barely heard it. In my pocket, my fingers traced the empty space where the dollar coin used to sit. Some debts are paid in currency, others in karma, but the richest payments come in moments of grace, when we choose to save something better than money, our humanity.